Hi, this is Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours. Thank you for joining us for Saturday live stream. Today you're in for a special treat. You're going to learn how the doctors in Panama literally saved Jeannie's life. She was having so many medical problems on so many different kind of medications, and now she's a completely different woman. I can't wait to introduce you to her and her husband, Stephen, also. But first, I have just a couple of announcements to make. For the benefit of those of you that are new to our channel, my name is Jackie Lang, the owner of Panama Relocation Tours. Since 2010, we've been helping people move to Panama the right way. You can get more information on our website at panamarelocationtours.com. Just click on the Tours tab and see that. Also, we have something called our online guide, which is like a home study course for moving to Panama. And subscribe on our YouTube channel, on our website, because you'll get 15 free lessons about moving to Panama. A couple of other announcements. Like I said, we have been doing 6-day, 7-night all-inclusive tours since 2010. We're currently doing tour number 268. We had a little bit of a problem that we were completely sold out until July. So just this morning, we added another tour for June the 27th through July the 4th. That's available on our website now. It's only a $500 per person deposit if you want to reserve your seat on that tour. If you'd really like to come sooner, like in March or April or February on a tour, what I suggest you do is get on our backup list. Just search backup in the upper right-hand corner. If you get on the backup list, then we'll notify you if we get an opening for a tour sooner. And one other quick announcement before I bring on our guest speakers. It would help us so much if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost at 43,000 subscribers, so I hope I can get all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. We're hoping that by the end of 2025, by December 31st of 2025, our goal is to get to 50,000 subscribers. So you'll help us a lot if you'll click on that subscribe button, please. So now, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest speakers. By the way, please hold off on your questions. I'm going to interview them a little bit, and they have a story to share. Then at the end of it, I'll open it up for your questions with Stephen and Jeannie. So hi, Stephen. Hi, Jeannie. Thank you so much for being here.
Jackie, thank you for having us.
I've never done anything like this before. Bundle of fur ball there that you have with you.
This is Bella. She's a Shorkie. She's adopted.
She's mama's baby, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning. I know you came on a Panama relocation tour. Was it last year in 2024?
Yeah, September 2022.
2022. So time flies when you're having fun. And then when did you move to Panama?
We moved here in June of 2024.
Okay. And let's start out with where you initially moved to and why you picked that area.
We lived in Pensacola, Florida, and I was born in Okaloosa County. I'm a beach girl, so we decided to retire in Bocas del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent about a month in Bocas, and come to find out they have a brand new hospital, but only have an internist come in once a week on Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
Oh, wow.
I started falling over actually in Florida. And at first I thought it was funny. You know, I thought it was just me. We got to Panama City and I actually fell out of bed and blacked my eye.
Wow.
Fell out into traffic on a rainy night, and Steve had to grab me and pull me back.
She was about to fall in front of an oncoming car.
Yeah. I remember, Stephen, you sent me some messages on our, through our email, and you said, Jeannie's having some health problems and she just keeps falling down. And that's a scary situation when you're in a foreign country and all of a sudden, the health problems had started and you already had everything planned to move to Panama, but it just seemed like part of it was the stress and excitement all mixed into one of moving to Panama that caused some other problems. But
we were in Panama City that 1 week for lawyer processing and all, and I think I counted she fell 7 times, including face first into the hotel nightstand.
oh, wow.
And I was half joking that if they see all the bruises on her, they'd arrest me for beating her or something.
Yeah. So did you see a doctor in Panama City for any of those falls, or did you?
No, we had so much going on with the attorney and having to be here and be there.
Yeah.
I didn't have time. And then when we got to Bocas, there wasn't sufficient medical care there. I was taking 12 pills in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 6 at night.
Yeah, we just counted today. Her prescription list was
and you were
18 pills.
even taking opioids, is that right?
For 15 years, I was on Percocet 10s 3 times a day.
The Florida doctors were starting to recommend morphine for her, and I thought, oh, God, no.
I didn't get out of bed for an entire year in Florida. I just couldn't. And now, because of Dr. Sue Chung's help, I walk every day. I have a ladies group that I meet behind the biblioteca, and we do lunch after we do a walk. And I'm socializing, which is something that I didn't have in Florida.
Your life has completely changed. I know.
Absolutely.
Stephen talked to me about, you leaving Bocas del Toro and moving to Boquete, and the medical that would be available. And even though we don't have a hospital, there is a clinic. But more importantly, we have so many really good doctors that are here in the Boquete area that even without a hospital, they can really take care of you very well here. So you were real fortunate that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When we first came, when we were in Bocas del Toro, we were renting a B&B for a few weeks. And when Jeannie was still having problems falling down in Bocas, as we were leaving the Tigo cell phone store, I saw 2 women or 2 people running across the street towards me, and I thought, what's going on? And I looked, and Jeannie had fallen out of the doorway of the store and was face down on the sidewalk behind me.
Oh my goodness.
Our landlord there at the B&B said that he had lost 2 of his friends because of the delays getting them when they had heart attacks to Panama City.
Yeah.
And we thought with Jeannie's conditions and her being so unstable on her feet, and she'd already had a stroke before in Pensacola, in North Carolina.
In 2013.
2013.
I had a stroke.
We thought that, without the medical care, I just thought it was too risky for us to stay down there.
Yeah, really.
So we came up here, and we had rented a B&B here in Volcancito, finding online. And Dr. Sue is the landlord of a few casitas here, in addition to being a doctor. And when we got here and she saw how Jeannie was having difficulty just walking from the driveway to the front door here of the little casita behind us where we first stayed, she immediately went into doctor mode and wanted to know all of the medications that Jeannie was taking. And as I said a few minutes ago, we counted the list today on a medical report. Jeannie had 18 different prescriptions that she was taking on a daily basis until we came here.
One of those was $18,000 a month.
Wow.
One.
That was
that I have tardive dyskinesia now because of the medications I was taking. And even though I'm not taking them anymore, I'm stuck for life like this.
That was the other thing. When we showed Dr. Sue the list of medications,
she had us come in after 6 o'clock and stayed with us for 2.5 hours, We went through every medication, what I was taking it for, and she systematically went through, got me off all the nasty American drugs that I was taking, including Percocet.
She said there were 2 or 3 of those prescriptions on that list that she said should have never been prescribed together.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard so many people have said that whenever they saw a doctor here, and the doctor said, well, you know, you shouldn't take this medicine with that medicine, not even in the same day, let alone in, you know, one right after the other. They should never, ever be combined. So it's a little bit scary that some people are taking so many medications. And, you know, anytime you take any medication, sometimes there's a side effect that could cause you have to take another medication to counteract the side effect.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the $18,000 one was to negate 2 other medications I was taking. I was so sick. I honestly came to Panama to die. I just knew in my heart that's what I was coming here for.
Yeah.
And now I absolutely have a new lease on life. I enjoy my life here in Volcancito and in Boquete. You could not ask for friendlier, warmer people than are here.
I had the shock of my life in Alto Boquete. There's the Mini Super Dorado, and there's a pet supply place right across the highway there. She ran. She could barely walk before, and this time she ran across a 4-lane highway.
Wow, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm sure Dr. Sue, you know, besides just, you know, analyzing what medicines you were taking and eliminating some of them, I'm sure she probably did some extensive lab work to see what was going on.
Yes.
And
we're still doing that.
And still, to help you get stabilized. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, yes. She's one of many doctors that we have, well, all over Panama. I always say that Panama doctors put the care back into healthcare. What doctor do you know that would spend 2 hours for you after 6 o'clock at night going over your medications? Or what doctor do you know that as soon as you walk from, you know, the car to the house, they say something's not right here, you know, forget about the rental. We need to take care of your health problems.
Right. She has I was overseas most of my career with the feds, and I saw when I was in Europe and in Asia that the doctors there, well, in the States, they seem to prescribe medications just to treat symptoms. When I got to Europe and here, and Dr. Sue has the same attitude, you treat the cause of the symptom, not the symptom.
Right. Yeah. Or try to find out what is causing it and so you don't need a medication.
You're down to what? I don't know how many now, but it's significantly less.
7 total now.
And she's trying to wean it down to the absolute minimum, which nobody else ever did.
Mm-hmm. That's really exciting.
And the doctor's appointment after hours, it was 2.5 hours, and it was under $100.
35. It was $45, I think it was, or 2.5 hours.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, the doctor, you know, I see Dr. Gomez. He's another doctor in Boquete that I think is really, really good. And it doesn't matter if you're in and out in 10 minutes or if he has to spend 1.5 hours with you. My cost is still $15 to go see him. It doesn't matter how long you're there. You know, if he has to do an IV or injections or something like that, it might cost more money. But just the doctor consultation, it doesn't matter how long you're there.
Yeah.
Sue has been.
By the way, everybody, the prices that we're talking about are without insurance. That's with no insurance. Right. That's what the cost is. So a lot of people
I submitted one massive claim here with my government health insurance that I carried into retirement. Mm-hmm. But the prices here, well, mentioned earlier that when I came on the tour in 2022, I fell down some stairs and bashed my head on the floor of the Salina.
Yeah.
When I was taken to Cherokee Hospital, I was there for 3 days, and I think
intensive care.
Yeah, intensive care for 3 days, $5,100. When I told that to my son, he said if that would have been in the States, they would have given you an Advil in the emergency room and charged you 10 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have, but I'm sure that besides being in ICU, they probably did a bunch of tests also to see if there was any internal damage or anything that was done. So,
and the doctor contacted me back in after I went back to the States, I was still in contact with the doctor from Cherokee. Dr. Concepcion was her name.
Yeah, yeah.
And she followed up on me 2 or 3 months after we returned even.
Right. So, it's really good information for people to know, because if you have any pre-existing conditions whenever you move to Panama, you're probably not going to be able to get Panama health insurance. Even if it's high blood pressure, you might get insurance, but they exclude anything to do with high blood pressure for at least the first 2 years. Then after that, they can cover it for 50%. But just know that even if you have pre-existing conditions, you can get really quality medical care here at an affordable price, which the total price might be less than you would pay for insurance anyway. $120 a month, $150 a month for insurance. You can go to a lot of doctor visits for that much money. And so that's why a lot of expats here in Panama, knowing they can't get insurance, or maybe they can't afford that monthly payment, they just put an extra $100 a month or $150 a month in a savings account and set it aside like your very own personal health savings account, just in case you do need to go to the emergency room. Of course, if you go to a public hospital, the cost will be a whole lot less, but you might have to wait longer to see a doctor. But even at private hospitals, it's quite affordable. 3 days in intensive care and lots of tests on only $5,100. That's great.
Yeah, we had an ultrasound just before Christmas. We went down to David based upon what Dr. Sue wanted to get a baseline on everything, and $86.
Yeah.
And that was just out of pocket. I mean, that would have been $600 or $800 in the States, I think.
At least. Yeah, at least. So, quality and affordable medical care is one of the big reasons that people move to Panama, and the fact that you can get really good doctors that care, that are going to really analyze your situation and try it. Their objective is always to get you off of any kind of medications whenever you get here, or just take the least amount possible to maintain your health. Some people, you just have to have medications for high blood pressure, whatever, but they're very likely to recommend some natural things that you can do that could help you without taking a medication also. The very first time I went to a doctor here in Panama, I'd only been here about a month, and I lived up in Volcancito Arriba, up really high, like 5,000 feet. And my husband and I were driving down the mountain, and my ears got all completely stopped up. I could see that he was talking to me, but I couldn't hear a word he was saying. My ears were so stopped up. So I just said, something's wrong with my ears. Can you take me to the doctor? And we'd heard about a guy that was Dr. Chin at the time. He owns the clinic where Dr. Gomez is. And, he looked at my nose and looked down my throat and in my ears and said I had a sinus infection and an ear infection. And he did give me an antibiotic to take for 3 days, but his main prescription was to take a tablespoon of honey every single day and to have 3 kiwi every day because they're high in vitamin C. He literally wrote it on a prescription, 1 tablespoon of honey at least once.
I'm required to get 5 or 6 bananas a week per Dr. Sue, so this one can have her potassium.
Yeah. So I like that they are. It's not just take a pill, take a pill. They'll look for some additional things that you can do. And I said, well, what's up with the honey? And he said, well, if you have the local honey, it helps you acclimate to the climate here. So then you're not going to get, sinus infections and things like that.
That's the other thing. Most of the foods here are of a higher quality than you can frequently find in the States.
Don't put the preservatives on it. Some of them are going to have pesticides, especially if it was grown in Cerro Punta, but many of the foods here, they're not going to have any kind of preservatives, which is a little bit of a warning. If you buy some strawberries today, you better eat them today because tomorrow they won't be very good. And same thing with bananas. If you buy a bunch of bananas, within 2 or 3 days, they're going to have a bunch of brown spots all over them and be soft and mushy on the inside. Because
we've had tomatoes last for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So some things, some things will last longer than other things, depending on where you store them, in the refrigerator, not in the refrigerator. But the food is so much fresher here, which I think also contributes to so many people that move here and they're able to get off their medications. They lose weight, just their general overall health. They feel much better.
Well,
I've lost 40 pounds.
I've gained a bit because my favorite German beer is cheap here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So we have quite a few people on the live stream, and I know they're going to have some questions for you. I'll open up for questions in a little bit. But before we do that, what advice do you have for people that are thinking about moving to Panama?
Homework.
Your online guide is our Bible.
Yes.
We're every day looking at that for something.
Right. I did that. I used a COVID payment or something that we got back in 2022 or something like that to buy your online guide. And we were religiously reading that almost constantly. And then finally made our reservations and followed the 6-month plan checklist that you have in there and pretty much followed that.
Yeah.
Don't come here thinking I'm just going to live here or I'm just going to live there. We honestly thought we were going to live in Bocas, and I'm not putting Bocas down in any way at all. But it wasn't right for us. And we didn't want to give up on Panama and go back to the States. That's why we came here to Boquete, in the Boquete area.
And I think I told you in an email or something that in all of my 35 years of travel, there were only 2 places that I felt like I had that deja vu going home feeling. One was Stuttgart, Germany, and the other was on the road coming into Alto Boquete.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you just feel like you're home. You're supposed to be there.
So, he calls this her forever home. So happy wife, happy life.
Exactly. So I know that you have a bit of a sad story about your dogs. Getting your dogs here was a bit of a challenge.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, American Airlines.
You might want to talk a little bit about the challenge of getting your dogs here, and then your recent experience with veterinarians that make house calls.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, when we were preparing to come here, we, again, based upon the Panama Relocation Tours Guidebook, booked first-class tickets, April 2024. And we were told by the American people that I spoke with online, we have, 3 about like this, and a couple of dachshunds. And we were assured that those dogs could travel in the hold in their kennels with us when we came down, no problem. Then we were due to travel on a Thursday or a Friday. On the Monday, I called just to confirm. And then I was told out of the blue that the holds on the American Airlines planes from Miami to Panama City were not pet friendly. And so we had a heck of a scramble.
Yeah.
Thank you, Golden Frog and Jose.
Jose Saints and Osvaldo at Copa Cargo in Miami.
We got diverted because Miami was flooded. We got diverted to Charlotte, North Carolina. However, the dogs went on to Miami.
No. We had to board the dogs.
That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
We had to board the dogs because they couldn't take them in the hold on the plane from Pensacola to Charlotte. So in order to get them boarded, we had to find an after-hours vet because the borders required vaccinations that importation didn't require. That was about $800 or $900 extra.
Oh no!
And the boarding was about $400 for 2 or 3 days. That was from Thursday until Sunday.
Then we used a pet limo.
Yeah, we had to use a pet transport from Pensacola, from the borders at Pensacola to the Pensacola airport, and then another one in Miami to get them from the Miami airport to the Copa terminal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to get them down to Panama, where Jose Saints saved our butts. When we got down to Panama, we were taken to the Rio de Urban, which is where we had our reservations. Apparently, though, because we were delayed, TripAdvisor or American, whoever we used to set up the reservations, canceled our reservations. So we arrived there without reservations ourselves, and Jose found us reservations at Sevilla Suites in Panama City. And I think we got the 3 dogs in the next day, 1 day before their USDA paperwork would have expired.
Wow, that was a close call.
It was about $3,000 or so that we had to spend that we weren't expected to expend.
Extra expenses.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jose was golden.
Anybody
Jose,
that's moving to Panama with your pets, I highly recommend that you'd use Copa Airlines. So many of the other airlines are just not transporting pets anymore. Maybe some in cabin, but not in cargo. We have a whole article on our website, on Panama Relocation Tour website, called Bringing Your Pets to Panama. Read that, because there's a very time-sensitive information that you need to know. The vaccines have to be done 30 days in advance. Health certificate 10 days, can't be more than 10 days old when you're flying.
We also found out one thing a day or two after we got here. They changed the rule so that I think
they have to
10 or 11 years old was the maximum age.
Yeah.
Our dogs were 12 and 14, so we barely made it.
Unless you sign a release form. So yeah, things are always changing. But if you're moving to Panama with pets, then I would highly recommend that you use Copa Airline. One other thing that you mentioned at the beginning, you used to being on the beach. It's absolutely gorgeous in Bocas del Toro. But whether you're moving to Panama City or Boquete or Volcan or Chitre or wherever, especially since many people that are moving to Panama or retirees, you need to know where's the closest hospital. When do they have a doctor there? What services do they offer? What if it's a heart attack or a stroke? Can they handle that? Last
week. Fall down the stairs.
Yeah, or if you fall down the stairs, or fall into a plate glass window or something. Just last week, somebody was having really bad stomach problems that lived in Coronado. Well, the closest hospital to Coronado is a public hospital in San Carlos, about 30 minutes away. That's not bad, but they only take care of minor things. They don't take care of things like that. Says, well, you're going to have to go to the hospital in Panama instead. So the first week you get here, everybody, it's real important to determine, and even before you move here, determine what hospital is there, what services do they offer, because some hospitals, like the one in Volcan, the one in San Carlos, many of the public hospitals, they can take care of a sore throat, earache, things like that. But if it's a stroke or a heart attack, they can't take care of you. So it's really.
I was I was with Jeannie falling so often, 7 times in Panama City, and I think it was about 5 in Bocas. I was concerned not only for potential fatal injury, but is this a sign of something neurological where there might be another stroke on the way?
Exactly. Yeah, or, something worse, you don't know. But, the public hospitals, they're good for a lot. Some of them are really, really good public hospitals, but some of the public hospitals, like the one in Bocas, They just take care of minor things.
Right.
Anything else, they're going to say, well, you have to fly to Panama City. It's only a 45-minute flight when the plane leaves, but still, that's a big extra expense.
Well, stroke and a heart attack are time critical.
Yeah, it could be life-threatening. It could be life-threatening. So I'm going to have some more, I'm going to take your questions in just a little bit, everybody, but it's real important when you move to Panama, before you pick a town that you're going to move to, know where's the closest hospital and what do they offer, what kind of services do they offer. We've got a few hospitals in Panama now that will take your Medicare Advantage or Blue Cross Blue Shield and other thing with no prepayment now. You just show your card. Yeah, we hadn't started that yet when you were here, but it is available now.
We just came through I have a federal employees health plan that I retired with. And the previous one was a little difficult, where we would have to pay everything up front and then get reimbursed. That's what I had to do when I had my tumble down the stairs in 2022.
But now you won't have to. Now you can just show your card at Hospital Cherokee.
Right. We switched to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we just set it up today with
thanks,
a woman.
Jeff Goebel.
Yeah. Yep. Jeff Goebel we worked with. I worked with the insurance folks there at Cherokee the past day or two, and we just got prior approval so that they can direct bill via Geo Blue now.
Right.
And Dr. Sue and her staff, Gabriella at her clinic here in Alto Boquete, were very helpful in giving us contacts that we could reach out to.
Yeah, we're doing a live stream at the end of January to go over all the things that are available now as far as healthcare and what you don't have to pay for. You can just take your car, but also you can use the private ambulance service in Boquete to get you to Hospital Cherokee if you need to, and you just show your insurance card. You don't have to prepay. So we've got, and we have air ambulances arranged, all kinds of great things. This
is our other one that wants to get in on it. She can't control her liquor.
Yeah. Yeah. So some animals are just hams, and other ones, like whenever I turn on my little light to do a live stream, Buster, usually my cat, he goes into hiding mode. He used to want to be in the middle of a live stream, but not anymore. So I know a lot of
mentioned something about vets a moment ago, and
so about the vet. So recently, one of your dogs was having some health problems, and you had to call Dr. Jansel to come to your house, and that's great. Vets make house calls here.
He's been to our house twice, and he originally came about a month ago when Olive, the one who passed, started having coughing problems, which we found out was a sign of end stage of her enlarged heart. And he prescribed some medications for her and $20 for a house call. And when the time came that Olive really couldn't really function anymore and was struggling to breathe and could barely walk, barely move even, he came here and was very, very compassionate and supportive.
At 7 o'clock at night.
7 o'clock at night on this past Monday. He was quite supportive.
Yeah, the doctors, veterinarians, nurses, they're just very compassionate here in Panama. We're very fortunate.
We had pet funeral services come pick her up, and they did the cremation for us and is bringing her back. So those services are available here in Panama also.
We should have Olive's back on Monday, they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a couple of questions. One is, do you need to make an appointment at the hospital to register your insurance? You don't need to make. So at Hospital Cherokee, you do not need to make an appointment. You just go to the first floor International Billing Department, talk to Deyka, Deyka, and she'll take care of you.
That's who I dealt with today.
Yeah. And let me get to this other one. Peter wants to know, Now that there is talk about the canal, how are the Panamanians looking at treating gringos? That they're not treating us any differently at all.
Absolutely not.
I've never met such friendly people.
Yeah, Panamanians are very friendly, very helpful. They will just
work ethic that won't quit.
Yep. Does COPA offer nonstop from New Jersey to Philadelphia? I suggest you go to Google Flights, and you can check on if COPA has a nonstop flight from New Jersey to there.
I would never fly COPA with pet, or I mean, I would never fly anybody but COPA with pets.
Yeah, COPA is the only way to go. Richard said, is the online guide included with the private tour? So for a private tour, you have to buy the online guide to get access to who the private tour guides are. If you go on the all-inclusive 6-day, 7-night Panama relocation tour, then you get access to the online guide after the tour, and it's included, no additional charge. Please speak more about the hospital in Panama. I don't know about the hospital in Panama other than they're building a new hospital in Panama that'll even be bigger and better. But the hospital in Panama, it's a full service hospital. They can take care of any kind of emergency that you have. My car is paid in full. Would it be okay to ship my car to Panama? So as far as shipping your car to Panama, it's going to cost $3,000 to $5,000 to ship your car to Panama. And then when it gets here, you have to pay a 22% import tax. Panama decides what it's worth. So on top of that, within 30 days of it arriving, you have to re-register it as a Panama car, which can cost $1,000 to $1,500. So you decide if that's worth it or if it's better to just buy a car when you get here. So easy to buy a car.
I have a comment on that.
Okay.
We haven't had a car here since June. We arrived in June, have never used a car. I totaled up our taxi fare from June till around Thanksgiving, and then just going into town 2 or 3 times a week, Boquete, it came to about $300 for June to November. That's 1 month gas and insurance in Pensacola.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the taxis are far cheaper than owning a car.
The taxis are affordable. There's also an app called InDrive, INDRIVE.com. If you get that app on your phone, there's InDrive drivers that are about 50% less than a taxi. So check into that also. That's another possibility. So Jay says, Jackie, can you clarify COPA will fly a dog over 10 years old with a signed release? Yes. If your dog is over 11 years old, then they will fly them with a signed release. And keep in mind, if the dog is small enough, it can go underneath the seat in front of you. But if it's bigger, it's going to have to go in a carrier in the pet holding area.
Or if you have more than one.
So when you talk to the immigration lawyer, how long should you wait for the info from the lawyer? I don't exactly understand the question. So if you send a WhatsApp to an immigration attorney, you should have a reply back within 24 hours. If you send an email, it might be a week before you get a reply back. But many of them will reply very quickly if you send a WhatsApp. Once you have your pensionado visas, there are a minimum amount of time that you have to stay in Panama. You have to come back to Panama at least 1 day every 2 years to maintain your visa. Do the hospitals in Panama take the insurance? No, the hospitals in Panama are public hospitals. The public hospitals don't take any insurance. Only the private hospitals take insurance. If anybody has a question for Stephen or Jeanne, then please put 3 question marks in front of your question. Next Saturday, I have a Q&A call that just covers any questions that you have. But the purpose of this call and your questions should be any questions you have for Stephen or for Jeanne. So Janet says, when will the hospital in Boquete be completed? I don't know. They say maybe March, but that might be June. And there's been no publications about what services they're going to offer. It's not a very big hospital. So my guess is it's just going to be triage, and they'll put you in an ambulance and take you to David for anything else. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of going to be kind of like an urgent care kind of thing.
Yeah, like an urgent care. But yeah, if you're having a heart attack or something like that, they'll put you in an ambulance and take you to David. Monique in London says, how are your dogs liking Panama? Did they have any issues adjusting?
When we were in Bocas del Toro, they started snoofling around the jungle, which was surrounding the B&B. We had to go out and find them sometimes.
Did they bring you a gecko every once in a while?
There was an agouti that crawled across our little driveway there.
And
howler monkeys outside, just outside our little veranda there.
Yeah.
And the dogs sort of howled back at them.
But here in Volcancito in the Boquete area, the temperature is very, very nice. So I have one dog that has a longer coat. I get her clipped every 2 weeks down the road at the dog spot. It's $20. They do fine here.
Yeah.
They actually love it.
They love it. Yeah.
I'm sure they probably enjoy the cooler weather too.
Absolutely.
And
so do we.
Yeah, we do too. Pensacola, I always joke they had 3 kinds of weather: hot, hotter, and repent center.
or the monsoon, that when it's pouring down rain. Yeah, but it's so pleasant to live in a place where you don't need an air conditioner or a heater, and where you can have your windows open.
Our electric bill has been under $20 or so. In Florida, we went to $384 for 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very frugal with our air conditioning and our heat. It's set at 67 in the winter time, and it was 80 during the summer. It was ridiculous. It was so bad we wound up having solar panels put on the house there in Florida,
which cost a fortune to put in.
Yeah. But those actually reduced our electric bill a lot.
Yeah.
Where we were having $200 and $300, $384 one month for electricity in Pensacola. Just before we came here in June, we were down to the minimum payment for March, April, and May of about $26 a month.
26, yeah. And we didn't get rid of our houses in Florida. We have 2 houses just in case if something didn't work out here, or if one of us got sick and we have to go back to the States, we have a place to go back to. Mm-hmm. And the rent income that we get off of it subsidizes our income here.
Right.
Our pensions.
Yeah.
Well, someone asked earlier, the questions have scrolled off the screen. Someone asked for the lady's name at Hospital Cherokee that you see to register your insurance. Her name is Deyka. Geyka, first floor, and sign says international billing. So Yo wants to know, Jeannie, as you were on so many medications, have you had trouble finding them or obtaining them in Panama?
Actually, Dr. Sue went through all the medications I was taking and found comparable medications here that were cheaper than what I was paying for in the States.
Mm-hmm. And and even if you have insurance in Panama, a lot of times it doesn't cover medications. Panama insurance doesn't. Now, I don't know, perhaps the insurance that you have, you could submit your bills, your payments that you have for medications, and you might be able to get reimbursed. But sometimes you just have to pay out of pocket for medications. So Terry says, what do you like to do for fun?
Steve has been a musician for about 50 years now. He's a bassist. And
I have 194 songs that I've been given on 3 different lists to learn to play for the bar bands down in Boquete.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, do you jam with some of the bands down in Boquete?
Not yet. We've basically, the taxis, they might be a good room for people, but when you have a couple, 3 guitars and an amp, it's a little bit harder to take them. But we're going to be trying to buy a car in the next few months.
A pickup truck. So Annie
we're planning to buy a car in the next couple of months.
How did you find your rental? How much is it? How big is it? So talk a little bit about where you're living.
Where we're living at right now, we were actually in 3 different B&Bs, the one in Bocas and 2 here in, one in Alto Boquete, and then this one here in Bocancito. This was my doctor's house, and she moved back into her old house. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a gated community of about 5 different little houses. And we pay, everything is included. It was fully furnished. The only thing we pay for is the electric.
And that's under $20 so far.
And it's $1,000 a month.
That's a good price. Well, plus you're close to your doctor too. You know, if you have some. No, it's just next door. So, and she probably wants you to be close as much as you like having her close too.
Yes, we had a traditional American Thanksgiving down at her house this year. Her kids have never experienced that, so it was really nice.
And our dogs, when they got out, they would run down to her house.
Yeah.
And by the way, if some of your questions have scrolled off the screen and I didn't get to it, I'm sorry about that. You're going to have to type it in a second time, and hopefully I can catch it the next time around. If I don't get to your question on here, send an email to info@PanamaRelocationTours.com and I'll answer it there. So Kevin wants to know, were you able to avoid the 10-day dog entry window for your pet? No.
If you're referring to the time limit on the USDA paperwork, we had timed the paperwork before the reschedulings, cancellations, and relocations. We got in with 1 day left on them, or else we would have had to start all over.
Yeah. Is there a list of specialists available in which cities they're located in? Yeah, we have that in our online Panama relocation guide. And the next question is, are your dogs required to be on heartworm medications? Do they need to be dewormed prior to traveling to Panama?
You had to have a full workup at our vet, or we had that done anyway. And that's where we found the one had the enlarged heart. But I don't remember, they had heartworm vaccinations routinely in the States. And I don't remember if that's actually required to get them into the country or not.
Yeah. So someone asked if you're working on learning some Spanish.
I'm learning Spanish as you go. The people here either speak broken English, or if they don't speak English at all, we always work out a way to get what we need done.
Panamine works.
Yeah, Panama works.
It's called Spanglish. Yeah, Spanglish. Yeah, and everybody knows how to use Google Translate, but a lot of times, yeah, if you don't speak Spanish, you know, if you want to learn just at the very least, just some, you know, thank you, and you need to learn to ask for your check, because a lot of times at the restaurants they won't bring it to you till they ask for it, but.
We found certain
in some areas, there's a high concentration of expats, and English is more widely spoken, so you can get by with less Spanish, but still the Panamanians appreciate it whenever you at least do a greeting, buenos dias, buenas noches, in Spanish. So Stephen says, I'm also federal retiree with Blue Cross. Are you finding that satisfactory along with healthcare prices there?
We just started Blue Cross Blue Shield ourselves. We switched from my previous plan during the just completed open season. So our Blue Cross Blue Shield just kicked in on 1 January. However, I am quite happy that it got prior authorization within just a couple of emails with DACA at Cherokee Hospital.
Yeah.
And we'll find out about that this coming week when Jeannie goes down for an x-ray.
Yeah, that's really good. So Monique said, were there any issues with the 40-day quarantine for your dog? So let me explain that to people that don't know. So when you get here, you're supposed to keep your pet in your house or on your property and not just take them out in public to the restaurant to have dinner and things like that. So that's what you're supposed to do.
We had no problems at all with that. They just hung around and ran around in the little yard that was in front of the B&Bs.
Mm-hmm. So Jean, have you found the footpaths a bit rough or okay considering your medical conditions? You know, the sidewalks.
You need to watch where you're walking no matter where you're at, whether it's in Panama City, Boquete, Bocas. You always have to watch where you're walking, and good shoes are a must here.
I'll say one thing as well. I suppose it's from the humidity, but sometimes on sidewalks you'll see that they're black. I don't know if that's just oxidation of the concrete.
Or even some green moss, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's slippery.
Yep. So Crystal said, can you mention the groomer's name again? Did you go to Dog Spot?
The Dog Spot, yes.
Yeah.
Down by Plaza San Francisco.
Yeah, past Plaza San Francisco.
So I'm going to take one more question. Approximately, what do you spend on groceries every week or every month?
We go to Mini Super and Super Baru and
Ray's. Yeah.
I'd say we've found some things are a little more expensive, others are cheaper.
We try to stick with the Panamanian brands because they tend to be cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
And roughly equivalent.
Yeah, I saw, I went to Alto Dorado grocery store today to get some cat food for Buster. And I had to walk right by the potato chip aisle, which I was tempted, but I didn't buy anything. But I saw they had Tostitos, corn chips. They were like $5 a bag, or they had this other one that was the Panamanian brand called Mejor. It was $1.99 a bag, same size bag, $4.95, $1.99. So
and Bitburger Pilsner for $1.50 for a 16-ounce can. I can't resist that.
We don't eat out much, and very rarely. And if we do, we have pizza delivered. So we cook a lot. So our monthly grocery bill may be a little bit higher than somebody else's who doesn't eat out.
That goes out to eat. The other thing is if you buy your fruits and vegetables at some of the fruit and vegetable stands, then those, first of all, the quality is usually better, the selection's better, but the prices are way better than they are at the grocery store for fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely.
We find, though, that we have to buy smaller quantities because we can't eat it fast enough.
Yeah,
I do like
that there's no preservatives on it and it'll just spoil.
Right, and our lettuce that we get is hydroponically grown, and it still has the little root ball on it. And if you're thrifty enough, you can plant that in your garden and grow your own.
Yeah.
When you get done with it.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So Stephen and Jean, I want to thank you so much for sharing this information about your wild experience of moving to Panama, falling down all over the place, and now look at you now. You're doing wonderfully, thanks to Dr. Sue identifying that something wasn't right and just getting you on the path to recovery. That's such a blessing.
Yes, it is.
We thank her. We thank her over and over again, and she keeps saying it's Jeannie's taking care of this. And I said, no, none of that. No.
Yeah. Well, you just need somebody that's going to point you in the right direction. She would have done something different a long time ago if somebody would have said, well, you need to quit doing this and do this instead. But it wasn't until you found a doctor that identified that something's not right. And we've got to get to the bottom of this problem that she was able to solve your health problems. I have no doubt that probably if we were to do this interview again in 1 year, I bet you'll be off of all of your medications by then.
Maybe she can carry the groceries back up the hill in Volcancito from Dorado.
Yeah.
It about killed me the one time I did it.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you've found your good life. What didn't work out in Bocas, but there's a good reason, because now you found the perfect place to live here in Boquete. There's a big music scene, so I'm sure you're going to get tapped into that before long, Stephen. Yeah. And you'll enjoy that. And continue.
Oh yeah, come with an open mind.
Yeah.
And 21 guitars.
Yeah. And just know that when you move to Panama, don't think that it's going to be like it was in Canada or in the United States, but just cheaper in Panama. It's nothing like it is in the United States. In so many ways, I think it's better. But for some people, it's too much of an adjustment to make. That's why it's so important for you to come and visit Panama. Don't just pack your bags and move to Panama. It's much better to come and visit Panama. Go on an all-inclusive Panama relocation tour. Remember, we have a new date for June the 27th, or, just come and do some exploring on your own and make a decision. Instead of doing it with your glasses on like a tourist, just visiting all the tourist traps here in Panama, come and, could I live here? Go to the grocery store, go to see, nothing's wrong with you, but go visit with a Panamanian doctor. See how your interaction is with them. Go to a hospital. Ask them if they could give you a tour of the hospital. We have some videos of hospital tours, but seeing it yourself might be very eye-opening. We haven't done a video yet on a public hospital tour. I need to do that sometime this year so people can see what that's like.
Sorry.
She's throwing her toy around, wanting us to.
Oh well, this whole live stream's lasted long enough. It's playtime now. So
thank you, Jackie, for having us.
Yeah, Stephen and Jeannie, thank you so much for sharing your story, and I'm so happy for both of you.
Thank you.
Yes. Right. And thank you for everybody that joined us for our Saturday live stream. Next Saturday, I'm going to do a Move to Panama Q&A live stream where I'm going to be answering your questions one right after the other. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updates about new videos. We've got 3 new videos coming out soon, so subscribe to our YouTube channel. Goodbye, everybody.
Ciao.